these pretty horses. Pretty ponies.
Going in! 3, 2, 1, go!
Hello, welcome back to the channel. I have no idea what week it is. I'll put it here. If it looks like I'm still wearing the same thing as the end of the last video, that's because I am. Today's Monday of this week. We're still in Washington State. We will be flying home tomorrow. But I did a little balloon lady walk. I wasn't really feeling up to running. Today, just wanted to take it easy, so did a 5K in like a little under 45 minutes. So, waiting for my husband to finish, and we'll get on with our day. Looking forward to going home tomorrow. Hello, it's Long Run Saturday. I think today's the 13th, yeah. Y'all, this week, just along with normal traveling schedule, it's just been very heavy is the word that everyone is throwing around, and it does feel that way. Have not been able to sleep at all. Just what to make of things happening nowadays is insane. But right now I'm trying to let my watch find me. It always takes the GPS forever to find me. But I was supposed to get up earlier and run with my friend, but I told her, I was like, I didn't feel like I fell asleep till about 4 a.m. and my alarm was set to go off at 5 to get up and get ready to meet her. So we're just gonna try to do about 8 miles on the street. I have no energy. I just don't feel like doing much of anything except sitting. So we'll see how much we get done. I'm gonna try to do 8, even if it's super slow. But yeah. Well, that is definitely the pace of a heavy heart. We got the 8 done though. I did the first 4 miles at my typical, as best as I could keep on my hilly street, my typical long run intervals. And then, so that was 4 miles, long run intervals. And then the other 4, I just dropped down to balloon lady walking pace. So, but yeah, it's funny, I was just reflecting, because as of this moment, I haven't posted last week's video yet. I was going to post them both tomorrow. How last week's video, man, I am very backlit, and I'm so sorry for that. Let me get over here. There we go. Last week was such a joyous event, and we come home and have a week like we had. I try to think of what to say. You know, we had the remembrance of something that happened 24 years ago. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it has. And I was talking to the middle schoolers about it. That and everything else has happened this week, but when I was talking about that, it was like, what I remember, or one of the things I remember from that time, is how, you know, people came together. You know, we leaned on our faith. We supported everyone. You know, we stood up as a country and said we're not going to let things like this happen, you know? It was a interesting, kind of cool thing to see. And then we have what happened a few days ago, which I just feel so sad about. You know, really, besides the fact that he was such a bold speaker, wasn't afraid to, you know, talk about what he believed in, share what he believed in. I admire that. I admire that in anybody, whether I agree with what they're saying or not, to not be afraid to share it. But I feel for his wife, you know, just he left for this and now, you know, he's gone. And then he has 2 very little girls, and that just breaks my heart. But it seems like, because I honestly don't know much about, I just only recently started, you know, figuring out what he was about a month ago, because I'm not really in that age generation that he was trying to reach out to. But oh my gosh, he was so bold, and I only hope to be that bold with, you know, speaking out for what I believe in and, you know, wanting to share it with people. But I feel like this moment will be something that will be remembered for a long time, if not forever. It seems like he touched a lot of people, which is very cool to see that he will be leaving a legacy. And so it makes me think about that too. What legacy am I going to leave? What legacy is my family going to leave? My husband and I together as a married couple, what kind of legacy will we leave? So I challenge that to you as well, to think outside of everything for a minute, and what kind of legacy will you be leaving? Because as everyone will say, especially after this week, we're not promised tomorrow. So what we do with today really does matter. And then it kind of got, I think because of everything that was talked about this week, at least the news channels that we watch, it kind of went under the radar just a little bit. But there was another school shooting. A young life, you know, harmed some of their peers and then harmed themselves. And it, you know, that makes me even more aware of what kind of an impact I could have with the younger generation that I get to spend some time with, even if it's just a very short time during their cross-country season. You know, am I building them up to know what their value is, and to know what their friends and their peers, that all of them matter. So that, I guess this is kind of a somber video, and I'm so sorry, but I think that's important to say, that everyone matters. You matter. Anyone you come in contact with matters. And, you know, we should be treating each other that way, that we all have value. So I'll leave it with that. So be sure to give this video a like. But I mean, this is real life. You know, we talk about the real things, and this is real. So be sure to give this video a like. Leave me a comment. How's your training going? Maybe something positive in the comments. Something happy that happened this week. You know, it's okay to grieve the sad things, and we should always be thankful for the happy things too. And be sure to subscribe. I obviously didn't get around to starting to knock off the Jar Oxen Spoon virtual series. I will get to it, but I want to make it extra cool, extra special. But next week, you know, I did 8 today, and with this training plan, there's for a few weeks, depending on what's going on, there isn't actually like an off week for long runs, kind of like there is with Jeff Galloway. So next week we actually have 9 miles, and it's something I'm not quite used to. A workout where mixed into that 9 miles is a race pace practice, which is interesting to do when you're doing run walk, because you got to do a little bit of math. If you want to hit a certain pace, you have to factor in the fact that you're walking a little bit, so your running's got to be, it's a whole thing. So we're going to play around with that during 9 miles next week, and I'm going to try to hone in my sleeping to get that back under control, so that I have the energy to get up and run with my run buddy. So that'll be next week. Always remember that you are God's masterpiece, and share that with somebody. You know, let them know what worth they have, that we are all God's masterpieces. I'll see you next week.